Good morning, everybody. Let us begin with a prayer. Mother, Father, everything, God. Great Spirit in us, through us, and all around us. Thank you for this day. Thank you for each day. Thank you for this time together to feel your presence and pray. It is our prayer that we take away with us opportunities to articulate what we've shared today, that we may reveal your presence here on earth, that we can demonstrate the blessings that are needed out there, refuge and comfort for those in need. May there be safety for those in harm's way. And may you stir in the hearts of those decision makers who can turn the path towards peace. We pray. It is also our prayer this holiday season, as we move through it, that we may find our joy in the strength of your Spirit. Amen. Yay, God. That deserves a yay, God. Okay. My name is Bruce Day. I'm happy and proud to be here as your service assistant this morning. It's good to see everybody here. On this rainy, blustery day, I'm thinking that our Facebook audience will be a little bit larger because of the folks that don't like to venture out in the rain. And you're welcome, everybody here on YouTube and Facebook. We know some of our regulars that have moved to other cities are here with us, and I can see the little light bubbles floating up on the screen now. But we know that everybody can share with us if you feel a slight curve growing at the corners of your mouth. And that is what we share. And we wish you were here, but we share that which we have now, in this moment, or whatever moment you may be watching this. We are together. We're going to start with a video. Are we ready? Love is the holiday. Special music. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
This is an original from Butch R. Baker. Sing along if you can follow the words.
Yay. Now together we will say Unity's foundational principle. There is only one power, one presence, active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And when we walk our talk, we are a thriving spiritual community, here to inspire one another to realize God's love. Centered in the Spirit of God, we see peace, love, and abundance in an awakening world. And the daily word for the day is grace. And let's repeat the affirmation together. I trust grace is my constant blessing. Constant blessing. Sunday, November 26, 2023. As an expression of God, I need not ever worry about earning God's approval or favor. God is my assurance that I am one with God and heir to all God is. I know oneness during times of deep spiritual communion, understanding I am fully human and fully divine. Through this awareness, my experience of grace deepens. I understand grace as more than a gift from God and begin to see it as an aspect of my divine inheritance. Grace is not a blessing. Grace is not a blessing I need hope for. It is a blessing I can count upon. It is trusting I will have what I need when I need it, that my support will come to me even from the most unlikely channels. That my support will come to me even from the most unlikely channels. Grace is knowing that God is with me and within me throughout my life. And the Bible verse from today is from Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God. Amen. And we have special music. And meditation, special meditation.
I don't know who that guy is, but you can sing along with this one too. Imagine you're walking into a party. Christmas is coming. See the world with child eyes. Yes, you can. Christmas is coming. All because we see each other. That's the plan. All the people in the dark without a heart. What we need right here, right now. A second star. Christmas is coming. Now I don't need a lot this year. Christmas is coming. Just make my heart alive with all good cheer. All the people gathered round, got a lot to say. Singing songs of joy and peace on Christmas Day. Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. if nothing more. Christmas is coming. See the world with child eyes. Yes, you can. Christmas is coming. All because we see each other. That's the plan. All the people bringing you down, they're not like me. What we need is holding hands beneath the tree. All the people gathered round. Songs of happiness abound. It's alright, Christmas is coming. The feeling in the air makes the season bright. Christmas is coming. Hand in hand we'll get each other through this dark night. Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. Right on time. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
This experiment is an invitation to suspend disbelief, let your mind be boggled, and have an experience of reality beyond what you think you know for certain. Miracles are more readily found in the slightly unsettling territory of paradox than on familiar ground. So, if you're game, let the experiment begin right now by imagining that the earth is shifting just a bit underfoot, and that nothing you see is what it appears to be. Simply by listening to this, you are entering into a miracle-making experiment. Numerous streams of research are showing that we can't change our minds without affecting the world around us, and as easily as listening to these words, your mind and your world are changing. If it's your choice, you will become a miracle maker. And if you're feeling excited, it's already begun. Proceed a little further now into the experiment by imagining that you're not alone as you listen. Change your mind about the normally solitary experience of listening so that you are now, simply through your intention to do so, linking with every other mind who is hearing these words. Increasingly, science is showing us that all consciousness is connected. To quote one of the pioneers of modern physics, Erwin Schrödinger on the nature of consciousness, the overall number of minds is just one. To wade a little more deeply into the fuzzy edges of reality, let go of what you think you know about time. Einstein proved in his theory of relativity that time and space aren't a fixed neutral container for matter and can be altered by what they contain. Time is a more fluid thing than we realize. As Helmut Schmidt, one of the early researchers of mind over matter, discovered in his extensive work with random event generators, he not only found statistically significant evidence suggesting that consciousness alone can indeed affect matter, but also that consciousness can affect matter in the past. Other researchers have found the same. So, without quite understanding how, imagine that your mind is transcending the fluid boundaries of time and space to connect with every mind that has in the past and will in the future hear these words. This is happening automatically simply because you're thinking it. You don't even need to believe it. Just imagine what it would feel like if you did. Picture this joined consciousness as clear, beautiful, and only positive. As we join minds in this way, we leave behind the clutter of small, weak thoughts that so often cloud our attention, and we rise into a higher mind that is wise and wonderful. In this higher mind, we amplify each other's power for good and automatically repel harm. You may already feel a difference. Your senses may be a little sharper. You might feel warmth or tingling or gooseflesh. Perhaps you're a little more awake. You may notice that your body is relaxing and you're breathing more deeply. You may feel nothing at all, the real magic happening outside of your conscious awareness. It doesn't matter what you perceive. Just imagine what it would be like if you felt certain, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that miracles are normal and starting to unfold in your life. And now here comes the important part. For a moment, hold the deepest, most heartfelt intention that everyone experiencing these words, past, present, and future, receives something wonderful. And imagine that just by listening with intent, you will too. Hold this thought lightly and with wonder, like you would a butterfly that just lit in your hand. Hold it gently, no need to strain, and let it go. Just as anonymous prayer has been shown to have a definite healing effect, even when the recipients are unaware that prayer is being offered on their behalf, just this easily, a powerful prayer has now been set in motion on your behalf. And after you have done this, if you notice a waft of rose scent that has no discernible source, or you see butterflies or feathers or some cherished symbol, wherever you go, just say thank you. As you've opened yourself to God, God is showing itself to you. And now you've become more than a passive listener. You've become part of this experiment, reshaping matter and calling forth miracles for yourself and countless others whom you will never know.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's just take a moment to breathe that in, because that's really powerful. What was so simply described as the powerful effect of our third principle, the power of thought, what we're holding in us. Let's just take a moment and really allow that thought of God, that extraordinary, joyous, beautiful energy that we have access to, let it rise up in us and let it, through us, permeate the atmosphere and energy around us to extend around the globe. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your gifts. What a beautiful way to start this service. Yeah. And as you know, we have been putting out into the ethers that which we want to draw to our community, and it's coming in waves. And I've really been thinking about this word, concept, idea of grace. Of grace. It's explained in different ways, but I want to share a little experience that was grace-filled for me. You know, I shared with you a few months ago that I took Kinsley to get her ears pierced, my 8-year-old granddaughter. Something she has wanted forever, because all of her friends and her cousins, and of course, she's one of these little ones that gets nervous about things like that and overthinks them, gets a tummy ache from thinking about them, it's a headache from thinking about them. And of course, it took us a long time in the mall. We were there, and then we had to leave the store and go to the food court, and then we'd go back, and she'd be on my lap, and she'd get the little marks on, then she'd get afraid and jump down, and this went on for quite a while. She finally did it through the tears and the grasping to me, and was so thrilled, just bounced off the chair as if nothing happened to her at all, and just loved it. And she was doing all the instructions just as she was supposed to, but one of her friends at school gave her a pair of earrings, especially for her, from her friend. So of course she had to take the good ones out that she was told to leave in for a very long time. And she was so close to the end that she thought, I gotta wear these that my friend gave me. Well, the left one, not the right one, but the left one got terribly infected. And by Thanksgiving, when I took a look at it, it was red and swollen. You could not touch her at all. You can imagine, Kinsley. And the back of the earring had wedged its way into the ear. It was in there somewhere. And she's got long hair, and some of it was wrapped around, and I thought, okay, we've just got to go to the clinic tomorrow, which is Friday after Thanksgiving. So apparently every child has something happen on Thanksgiving Day. They go to the clinic with their significant parent or grandparent or whoever. So we got there as they opened, and our time slot was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we went and had breakfast and started giggling and calling our angels to us and thinking happy thoughts. And she's a mess, of course. Terrified of what's going to happen. Absolutely terrified. Stomach ache, headache, trembling, the whole bit. And we just left the house just kind of in a hurry, just to get there, not realizing fully how we looked or appeared. But we got into the doctor's office finally, and we had the kindest, most generous, sweetest female doctor. Actually, we had 2 doctors, a male and a female, to come in and help with Kinsley because she was terrified. And as she was trembling and crying, and the doctor trying to get a look at it, she looked at me and she said, "Are you Grandma?" And I said, "Yes." She says, "Why don't you climb on the table with her so you can both lay down?" And so we can get a look at this girl's ear. And so there I am on the table with her scooped up to me. She's hanging onto my arm, trembling and crying, and the doctor is trying to get a good look at it. I have to hold a cloth on her face to keep the freezing spray from getting in her eyes. So she's mad at me because she can't be mad at anyone else. I mean, "Grandma, let go of me," as she's clinging tightly to me, her little nails digging into my skin. And then, of course, the doctor was able to just pull the back right out and show it to her. And she's like, "That's it?" "Yeah." And then, of course, they had to bandage it and clean it, and she's got to take antibiotics and all of that. Well, as we were leaving, and she says, "Oh, my tummy doesn't hurt anymore." Well, as we walked out, we happened to, the glass on the emergency place was reflective, and we happened to get a look at ourselves. And we stopped, and she's looking. And first she looks at herself and goes, I look ridiculous. And she had a barrette over here to hold her hair out, and then a big white flower barrette here to keep it out, and then this gauze. So she just looked like it was hysterical. And I had given her a sweatshirt jacket of mine, and I had on an old sweatshirt jacket of my husband's. I don't even think I brushed my hair. We're looking in that mirror image at the two of us. She starts laughing hysterically. And all I could think of was, this is grace. This is complete and total grace. And she just looked at me and said, another adventure for us, huh, Grandma? And jumped in the car and was ready to go. And I thought, that is such grace. And, everybody has their own idea of grace, their own thought, feeling as we go through life. For most of us spiritual seekers, that understanding and meaning of grace deepens when we find God in everything. Webster describes grace as elegance, refinement of movement, courteous goodwill, honoring or crediting someone. And our spiritual teachings teach us that grace is fullness, wholeness, the total expression of God's love, available to us at all times. There's 140 times in the Bible that grace is mentioned, and every single time it is an attribute of God, an attribute of God, a facet of God, an expression of God. There, but by the grace of God go I. My grace is sufficient for you. It's there at all times. It's there at all times. We experience grace when we see something magnificent, like an extraordinary waterfall. That's grace. God's relentless affection constantly expressing. G-R-A-C-E. God's relentless affection constantly expressing. It's there. Now, we know scientifically that the eruptions inside the core of the earth, the earthquakes, caused these plates to jam together, and these mountains grew out of the oceans and out of the ground. And in the rainforests, the rain collects in the clouds and begins to pour during the monsoons. And in the forests and the high mountains, the snow gathers and melts and turns to these great rivers, and they all lead to the sea, and they form these magnificent waterfalls. We know it scientifically, but that master creator and orchestrator of all that is God's grace. God's grace, constantly expressing in and through us. And we are the catalysts of that grace. We get to choose to see grace in that moment or not. We get to choose that. And not only choose to see it, but to be it. There's 5 attributes of God the spiritual teachers of unity express to us in the words grace, G-R-A-C-E, those letters. Generosity. Generosity for others. That's a simple attribute of God. And when we extend that generosity, we are acting on God's behalf. We are a conduit of grace. Simply generosity for others. Respect. In dignity for all life. Simple respect. When we are respecting, we are a catalyst for grace. And it's not us that the people are seeing when we are expressing that. It's God's grace that they are experiencing and witnessing and feeling and knowing. Action. We are the mechanism for change. I can do all things through God in me who does the work. If we're not acting, if we're not becoming the change, we're not activating God. We're not giving God a chance. People say, how can God let that happen? How can we let it or not let it happen? How can we hold grace in? How dare we stifle God? Compassion, concern for others. Can you imagine if every single person on the planet for just maybe the first day of Advent. Just hold compassion for others. Watch what happens to this planet. Just holding the thought of peace. Just knowing that the simple people, the humans, all of us, everyday folks, simply want peace and a peaceful life. The Israelites simply want peace. The Palestinians simply want peace. It is the leaders that are hungry and thirsty for greed and power. It is not the people. And it is up to us to hold that and be that catalyst of grace, of compassion, of kindness, of dignity, of respect. As we hold it over here, as we think it and feel it and let those goosebumps come through fully, we are activating peace with and for them. It seems so simple. How can that be effective? It's the only thing that ever has. A small group of determined people holding the light for the rest of the world. And that E for energy and that spirit in us that is always active. That spirit that causes the sap to rise in the tree and bloom out these amazing leaves and flowers rises in us. We get to choose what to do with it. I remember we were teaching a series of different principles at Unity of Citrus, and this one particular lesson was on grace. And a friend of mine who was taking the class at the time, this was many years ago, had recently lost her husband. And it was kind of a freak thing. They were a young couple, like late 40s, early 50s. And she heard a thump while she was in her living room, in the bathroom. It was a weekend, they were both off, and she went running in there, and he had fallen and hit his head, apparently, on the sink, and was bleeding, and she called the ambulance, and by the time they got to the hospital, he was dead on arrival. And there was some stroke activity or something, and they didn't really know if that's what caused it or the fall after the incident. It was kind of a mystery, but that had happened recently before she took the class, and 2 days after the class, she called me. We were talking about grace and noticing and paying attention to and getting out of your own way and letting that natural flow of grace go, letting it be. And she called me and she said, an interesting thing happened to me this morning. What was that? She said, I set an intention to be more aware, to step out of having to figure it out or make a reason why. She said, I got in my car and was ready to start the ignition, and it was one of the days like today, everything was kind of foggy, and before I turned my wipers on, I noticed there was a heart in the mist on my windshield. A heart, very much like her husband would leave on notes. A heart. She said, I didn't stop for a minute to think, who did that? How did that happen? She said, I just said, thank you, and started weeping. How many times did I not notice this? God is there constantly. Are we paying attention? And if you're not experiencing it, if you're not noticing it, put it out there so you will. The only thing that's blocking us is us. The only thing that's blocking us from that great grace is us. Our own thinking, our own getting stuck in our humanness, in our worries, in our fear, in our thought that it is impossible. All things are possible. My grace is sufficient. That means enough. My grace is sufficient. Unity teaches us how to put our trust, beliefs, and thoughts into action. That is our work. Life, unity is a way of life. Progressive Christianity, a way of moving through the world, activating the presence of God, us being the catalyst. So how do we do that right now? With intention. Let's set an intention collectively to go through this season of holidays with that Spirit of God, with that grace. How are we expressing God to others? What are we thinking in our thoughts? What are we speaking to each other? Is it grace-filled? Do you want to see God or not? How are you bringing that about? How are you bringing that about? You get to choose. You want to save the world? Save the world. That's a worthy goal. We can do it. It starts right here. Watch your life change. Watch your world change. So that is my charge for us, during this Advent, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas season. Let's be the change through gentle, kind grace. We can do that. I found a lovely poem by Shalon that I just felt like this message. I did the prayer of St. Anthony. There was a lost person, now it is found. St. Anthony never disappoints. This is called Morning Glory. Take this in with you today and all this beautiful music that we heard and message. Morning Glory. Sometimes it's better to pray with your eyes open, to see the hummingbirds buzzing around like golden snitches in search of morning nectar. Or watch dawn begin to drape her diaphanous light-woven shawl over the landscape of your heart and mind. Sometimes it's better to pray with your mouth closed, to give your soul a platform to listen to the seas of beauty pulsing with silence. Perhaps what I'm saying is that prayer is an invitation to let go of format and enter the holy bones of your body's sweet temple. And that whatever tongue, whatever movement, whatever way your longing pulls you to connect with the sacred wow that is always sitting deep within your chest. That is holy, that is prayer, that is grace. Namaste. Be grace-filled.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. Oh, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. Where you are, I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. Oh, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Hi. I was letting go and releasing. It works out that way sometimes. I just don't. Yeah. together, divine love flowing in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. This is our prayer box. It belongs to all of us. It belongs to the church. It is a real big part of the church and the part of our prayer practice as a church family. Here and now, we send these prayers on their journey, on their way, moving through our chaplains and their prayers, on their way to Unity Village in silent unity for 30 days, and on their way flowing in spirit into the sea of spirit that is all that is, to manifest in the right and perfect place and form and time and grace and blessing that we affirm now, so it is. Amen. No children? Just us. Well, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. We love you. We appreciate you. We see you loved, guided, and protected. And we empower you to do great things. Yay. Announcements. First is typically new people who are new to us here today. But I see it's just the fam today. Good to see everybody, smiling faces. Yeah. More announcements. I got them right here. Let me see. We're on the next page. After today's service will be a few willing, talented hands to help make the sanctuary look festive for the Christmas season. So stick around. We'll have a good time. It's always fun. Jiggling the lights, make sure they turn on. And the next drum circle takes place tomorrow, Monday, November 27th. So, weather permitting, but I don't know, Shirley, we talk about temperature. In the 40s, it's probably too cold and we'll move inside. In the 50s, we'll put more wood on the fire. Everybody bring a lawn chair, bring your drums. We got plenty of extra drums if you don't have a drum. We got plenty of everything that is needed. And a good time will be had by all. 5:30. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And Wednesday discussion and meditation resumes this Wednesday at 12:30 to 2. And that is a great, great circle. I don't call it a class because everybody teaches each other. I just sitting in circle is what I call it, but we call it a class too. And Conversations and Coffee will resume next Sunday. But of course, the conversations and the fellowship I think it's what we do best. I don't know. I may be wrong, but fellowship is kind of our thing. It's kind of our thing. And that's great. Anybody have anything else for the good of the church? Joanne? Oh, the chaplain. Right. And also, lest I forget, chaplain for today is Jim Reed. And Jim will be up here, as you all know, to be praying with you or for you at the end of the service. Is there anything else? Prayer for protection? Nobody else? Prayer for protection? Please stand as you're comfortable. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. And the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Yay, God!